A few months ago, my testosterone was at 1.6 nanomoles a litre. Dangerously low for a 20-year-old athlete. I was dealing with reds, burnout and fatigue. Now, after 3 months, I'm at 12.7 nanomoles a litre. And here's how I did it. I've been in the endurance space for properly around 3 years, with the last 2 years being when I've really stepped up my training. This includes training for a marathon and most recently a 70.3 distance triathlon. Now, when I started, I thought I knew what I was doing. And whilst I had no problem in training hard and being very disciplined and consistent with it, things started getting hard. And to be completely honest, progress began to stall. Initially, I neglected the signs and I pushed through for months with minimal rest days, high stress, and inadequate nutrition. But eventually, I couldn't handle it. Poor sleep, constant fatigue, low motivation, and the final straw, shockingly low testosterone. For reference, the normal range for males is 8.6 nanomoles a litre to 29 nanomoles a litre. For females, it's 1.8 to 2.7, and me, being a 20-year-old male at 1.6, is shockingly low. And not at all healthy, and just showed to me that the past few years of training, I had dug myself into a really, really big hole. When I was training for my marathon and triathlon, I was also balancing my studies and a part-time job on the side. And I think the additional stress of these, I didn't really truly take into account what they placed on me. It did take some time for me to come to realization that I had low levels and that I could not continue on down the same route. But once I accepted where I was determined to improve and started researching on how to do just that. Turns out I was experiencing something called REDS, Relative Energy Deficiency in Sport. This is basically when you aren't consuming enough energy to match your energy expenditure. Now, this isn't something that happens overnight, but it is something that occurs over weeks and months of constantly stressing the body and not providing it with adequate nutrition. So much so that it starts shutting down other energy consuming processes. The biggest things I noticed during this time that I didn't even realize was really, really poor sleep. I'd wake constantly in the night without feeling really rested. And when I woke up, I just kind of dread waking up and just had that kind of grogginess in the morning. Another thing I noticed was really, really big mood fluctuations. So I could be really, really happy one day and feeling really confident, and then others I could just hit rock bottom. And then there was also low motivation, lack of libido. And I also noticed that I'd pick up illnesses and injuries a lot more frequently as well. So, what steps did I take to fix this? The first step started with nutrition. Very simply, I started eating more. Now, please don't overlook this. It's very easy to think that it's not my issue. And to be honest, I thought that as well. I was eating loads, 3,000, 4,000 calories on most days. And so compared to my friends and family, I was eating way more than them. But just because you're eating more than them doesn't mean you're eating enough for yourself. As an athlete, and if you are too, you can spend a lot of time training and that can suppress your appetite. In my opinion, I didn't see an objective improvement in my health and my symptoms until I actually gained some weight. Now, bear in mind, at the time, I was at 55 kilograms, very lean, very minimal body fat, about 7%. So I do believe gaining some weight and gaining some body fat was a very simple thing that helped boost my testosterone levels. So how do you actually go about eating more? It's very easy for me to stand here and say just eat more, and I knew that for a while, but until I actually started consistently doing it and applying it day after day, that's when I actually saw the improvements. It's easy to eat more for 1 to 2 days, but then fall back into your old habits and lose motivation for it. But it is that consistency that provides the results. Now, eating can be a chore, especially if you're busy, so I really do encourage you to treat this like you're training. Plan it out. What meals? When are you having them? Now, during this time, for me, I did track calories. I know this might not be for everyone, but I did think it was worthwhile. For me, it helped me understand just how much I burn and just how much I actually need to eat to make sure I eat enough or even more to match my energy demands. And so tracking both my weight and my intake was a valuable lesson that really taught me just how dynamic your weight fluctuation can be. But it also allowed me to make adjustments over time. For example, if one week I hadn't increased in weight progressively, then I'd add 100 calories a day to my baseline intake. For context, I went from eating 2,200 calories plus my activity exercise expenditure all the way to eating 2,800 plus my activity expenditure. That is 600 calories more per day and 4,200 more over the course of a week. Now that's a lot more. So other little tips I would give to trying to boost your energy intake is to try and front load your calories in the morning or midday. That's opposed to having to chase them up in the evening and go to bed feeling stuffed. I now try to make sure I eat my last meal 2 hours before bedtime to give myself time to digest the food, and I honestly think this has massively improved my sleep quality. Other things to help you eat more are eating frequently. So I rarely go more than 3 hours without eating a full meal. I also encourage batch cooking foods, so rice, chicken, whatever it is that you have are staples in your diet. Batch cook them just to minimize the time you actually spend cooking food. And of course, trying to still eat healthy, like eat whole foods where you can. The 80-20 rule is a good rule to follow. 80%, keep it clean, keep it good, whole foods that are nutritious. But 20%, enjoy yourself. If you need a few sweets and whatnot around exercise, that can actually be good. And if it helps you reach your calories, then I'm all for it. Especially at this moment in time, if you are suffering from something like I did. And obviously liquid calories, smoothies and shakes are a really, really easy alternative to this as well. So whilst you're working on your nutrition, if you are still struggling to match your energy expenditure and energy intake, then the next thing you can do is reduce your training volume. Now this is the biggest stress on your body, but it can be a hard one to take, especially for you guys if you're type A personalities that actually enjoy training as well and want to improve. Then cutting back on that seems like you're taking a step back. But please remember that this is not forever and it's only temporary until you get back to a good, healthy state. Now, I'm not saying cut back training cold turkey, but instead look at your key sessions and prioritize them. What are the ones that are going to move the needle the most and are the most important for your current training? Then the additional easy sessions or little things that might actually be junk volume, then honestly, filter them out, get rid of them if you don't think they're actually beneficial and they're just another stress on your body. Like I say, this is only temporary, but I think this can really help you and your body in this time of a high stress period and just help it return to baseline. For example, if you frequently do 2 sessions a day, maybe cut a few of these down to 1 a day and pick the one that is most important to you at that moment in time. Remember, this isn't forever, and I'll admit I wasn't great at this at first because I was also training for my 70.3 that was in a few weeks time. So if you also have a race nearby, it might be worthwhile just keeping a few extra sessions in. However, if you haven't got anything on the calendar, then honestly, think about long term, where you want to be in the future. Cutting back on a bit of training volume now is likely going to have much more beneficial impact on your performance later down the line when it matters. Now, the third thing is to prioritize recovery. Now, both your nutrition and your training volume are probably some of the key determinants that actually impact your recovery needs and recovery ability. So these must be taken care of first and optimized, which is why, obviously, I mentioned them first. However, to help with managing training loads, the number one thing I've implemented that I've honestly seen a noticeable impact on my training, my recovery, and my overall enjoyment for the sport is a designated rest day per week. Just one per week of literally no swimming, no biking, no running, no gym, no nothing. Honestly, it's a complete mental reset. It's easy to go through training, pushing yourself and just going from one workout to the next. But honestly, having this Monday complete rest day, I see myself using it for the foreseeable future. It can make other days more taxing, but it's there for complete rest. And honestly, Sometimes I don't feel great in these rest days, but it gives me that 24 hours to reset, re-energize myself, find that motivation again. And honestly, it's so worthwhile. Yeah, I can prioritize other things that I enjoy. I can prioritize eating really good this day, getting a bit of extra sleep as well, and also socializing a bit more or dedicating a bit more time to my work if I want to. Training can be quite time consuming, so having a day completely off allows you to fulfill other areas of your life. Another thing that again helps with, I think, consistent and productive training is actually me understanding periodization, specifically build and recovery weeks. Previously, I would make a weekly training split and stick for it for months. And whilst the first few weeks were good, I'd eventually kind of hit a plateau, things would get hard, I'd lose motivation, and honestly progress would just stall and it'd be pretty unproductive. This is where having build weeks and recovery weeks come in. Currently, I'm doing a 2-week build and then 1 week recovery. So 2 weeks building is increasing volume, introducing intensity, honestly just trying to fulfill these sessions as best as possible, perform at my best. And then the 1 week recovery, volume reduces to about 50%, keep a bit of intensity. But like I say, the main thing is to recover, let the body actually adapt to the training I've done in the previous 2 weeks. And again, it gives you a bit more time to do other things you want to do away from the sport. And honestly, then going into the next 2 weeks, training is a lot more productive, it's a lot more consistent, and I honestly think performance has improved because of it. I do plan to go into 3-week builds, but right now, I think 2 weeks is a good place for me. But again, monitoring fatigue levels, tiredness, etc., all these other things, and just using them as a training guide, and then I'll make the decision whether to push on for another week. Now, other aspects of recovery I try to optimize is obviously sleep. Like I said, trying not to eat closer than 2 hours before bed has been a really big thing that has massively improved my sleep quality. Then there's the very simple things like ensuring your room is dark, your room is nice and cold or cool. I also like to stretch before bed. And to be honest, winding down, I used to read a book, but now I honestly just scroll on my phone, watch a bit of YouTube. That I find that really detaches me from the world, helps me have a restless sleep. So yes, you probably shouldn't sit on your phone much before bed, but I stick my blue light blocking glasses on, I watch a YouTube video, and honestly, I have good sleep. So again, that's what works for me. Find something that works for you. Don't go following other people's routines because you feel like you have to. Just genuinely find what helps you relax and have a good night's sleep. Simple as that. Don't overcomplicate it. There's a lot of information out there. But honestly, just find the basic principles and don't stress about it. Like, I know it's so easy to say, but it comes back down to that simple principle. Finally, the mind. Probably my greatest strength and my greatest weakness. Now, I'm gradually learning when I need to push through sessions and equally when I need to pull back, but it's still very much in progress and it probably will be for the foreseeable. Seeing my training as more dynamic and less set in stone is something I've adapted, and learning to kind of base my training off feel and effort levels on a given day. I've also learned to be more obsessed with the process than the end results. As the saying goes, he who loves the journey will go further than he who loves the destination. At the end of the day, I train for challenge, and whilst every workout might not be enjoyable in the moment, at the end, 90% of these, I often come out feeling much better about myself and just about everything else. So making sure I'm enjoying the process is honestly one of the key things for longevity in the sport. Things like switching up your run route, trying some different drills in the swim, or just trying a completely different workout on the bike. Don't be too rigid with your training, and sometimes, if you can, train with others. I think speaking to people is one of the best ways to get that little motivation, little bits of energy when you're not really feeling it. Now, has this directly helped with my testosterone? Probably not, but it has helped me enjoy the sport more, enjoy the process, enjoy training, and it's improved other aspects of my life and make sure I keep coming back for more. So there we go. Those are the steps I took to overcome RED-S and rebuild my testosterone. To recap, my top priority steps if you are showing signs of RED-S is to 1, increase your calorie intake. 2, if you are still struggling, reduce your training volume. Doesn't have to be cold turkey, just a little bit gradually, and it's not for forever. 3 is prioritize rest, recovery, and downtime. And finally, number 4 is work on your mindset and how you approach the sport and training as a whole, and focus on what you want to get out of each session. Now, I think it's really important to note that these things take time. For me, it was about 3 months. For you, it might be more, it might be less. So that's been my experience. Again, it's very anecdotal evidence, so it might not work for you. But if you are struggling, definitely go see a doctor, see an actual sport practitioner that honestly can really help you. And if you do have any questions or concerns, please reach out for me and I'll try and offer my help. But as always, guys, I hope you've enjoyed and thank you for watching.